Genesis 21 verses 9 to 10 reads, "But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham was mocking, and she said to Abraham, 'Get rid of that slave woman and her son, for that woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac.'"
Certain Islamic scholars assert that the narrative concerning Hagar and Ishmael, as depicted in the Torah, may have undergone modifications by later scribes. They propose that the verses in Genesis 21, verses 9 to 10, may have been inserted at a later date, given that Hagar and Ishmael had already left Abraham's household prior to the birth of Isaac. Furthermore, Islamic tradition indicates that Ishmael was an infant during this period. The story of Abraham, Hagar, and Ishmael is recounted in both Islamic and Judeo-Christian traditions. But the interpretations of events differ significantly, especially regarding motivations and circumstances. In Islamic tradition, the narrative emphasizes that Abraham's decision to leave Hagar and Ishmael in the desert was a direct command from God. This command is viewed as a test of Abraham's faith and obedience to divine will. Muslims interpret Abraham's actions as noble and part of a larger divine plan, which highlights his trust in God's wisdom. The act is not attributed to any personal motives, such as jealousy or resentment, but is instead seen as a fulfilling of God's purpose for Abraham and his family. Conversely, in the Judeo-Christian tradition, the focus shifts more towards human emotions and relationships. The narrative often centers around Sarah's jealousy and insecurity upon seeing Ishmael mock Isaac, her son, with Abraham. This jealousy leads Sarah to demand that Abraham expel Hagar and Ishmael from their home. This viewpoint highlights how complicated human feelings can be and the possible disagreements that might occur within family relationships. These conflicts can lead to feelings of being left out due to personal emotions. Concerning the age discrepancy, Islamic texts typically depict Ishmael as a nursing infant when Hagar was left in the desert. This portrayal aligns with the practical realities of the situation, as it is more feasible for a mother to carry a small child rather than an older one. The narrative implies that Hagar, in her role as a mother, is caring for a very young child, which makes Abraham's abandonment of them even more poignant given their vulnerability. In contrast, the biblical account presents Ishmael as approximately 17 years old at the time of his expulsion. This significant age difference raises questions about the practicality of the situation. If Ishmael were indeed a teenager, it would be less feasible for Hagar to carry him in the way described in the narratives. Additionally, the image of a young man depicted as helpless under a bush can create a conflicting view of his character, complicating the emotional weight of the story. In conclusion, the Islamic viewpoint on the story of Hagar and Ishmael as presented in the Torah is marked by skepticism regarding the authenticity of certain verses. Islamic scholars argue that the timeline and events described in the Torah may have been altered, and Islamic tradition suggests that Ishmael was an infant during this period.